Bobby Wagner hates mayonnaise. Thinks it's disgusting. Put it on the poll, Guillermo, please. At Batard Show. Is mayonnaise disgusting, or do you hate mayonnaise? Billy is...
It's gross. It's disgusting.
Horrific.
It's amazing.
It's awesome.
Mayonnaise is terrible.
What are you talking about?
Everything that makes contact with mayonnaise tastes like mayonnaise.
Sandwiches?
What do you mean? How do I eat sandwiches without mayonnaise?
Wait a second.
Very
Wait
easily.
a second. When you have a turkey club, what do you put on it?
I first off, I don't eat turkey clubs.
Yeah.
But if I did,
Well, you're missing out.
I'd eat them dry.
Wait, aren't you an Anglophile?
Why?
They serve their chips with mayo there in all of Europe, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't eat mayonnaise. I don't have to adopt every bit of the culture. It's okay. Mayonnaise is
Phony.
horrific.
It's on you.
It's like I feel this way about black beans as well.
This
Where-
guy.
we've
Wow.
gone too
Oh,
far.
my God.
Now
Now
we've
you've
gone
crossed
too
the
far.
line.
Well, I'm
Now
with you
you've
on black
crossed the
beans.
I
line.
was with
I'm
you
with
for a
you.
moment.
What?
Now we've gone
I've
too
been
far.
sharing
a
a
legitimate
studio
problem.
with someone who feels this way about black beans.
I don't like black beans. What
Everything
can I tell you?
everything
kind of
that makes
beans do you
contact
like?
with black beans tastes like black beans.
Oh,
Good.
Shush.
Good.
I like baked beans. You know, little sauce on them, right?
You
Little
say-
hot dog.
What?
Franks and beans.
The mayonnaise thing, I understand. The black beans thing, I don't get whatsoever. Also, you don't have to have a dry sandwich if you go sans mayonnaise. I've opted for olive oil in place of mayonnaise.
You could go mustard,
It's
too.
basically the same thing. Mayo is just oil and eggs.
Who says I have to choose? I go both.
Mustard only works with a few things. It works with salami. It works with bologna. It does not, for me, it does not work with roast
Put
beef.
it on the
It
poll,
actually-
Guillermo.
I don't think it does.
At Lebitard Show, does mustard only work with a few things? At
I'm
Lebitard
with
Show.
you. I'm not married to mustard with all my sandwiches.
Okay, good.
I pick and choose.
Yeah.
But roast beef, I think, is actually a pretty good tandem.
I think roast beef is a mayo meat. I do. I think turkey is the same. Turkey, you can go mayo or mustard. Sometimes I'll go mayo and mustard. I think roast beef, it has to be mayo. I think ham has to be mustard.
You've been thinking about this your entire life.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Talking
I mean-
sandwiches as hard as he can right now.
It all needs to be mayo and a lot of it.
It's disgusting.
A lot of it.
So, Chris, you go and get a chicken cutlet sandwich. Have you ever had one of those?
A lot of it.
Whittingham? Ever? A fried chicken cutlet sandwich.
I was asking Witty
specific.
if he likes anything mayo based, like the potato salads of the world, the tuna
Well,
salads.
but I don't understand the link that he's making. Like, at least in theory, I can understand someone being totally disgusted by the sliminess, the texture, and a bunch of different things about mayo. But why would you put black beans in that class?
Yeah.
I'm also
Leave
putting
black
pickles
beans
in this
out of
class as well.
I've grown,
pickles suck.
I've grown
What?
to like pickles. I used to hate pickles, but your taste buds change every 7 years. I quite fancy them now.
They're
This is
Thinly
a recent
sliced,
thing.
though, pickles for me.
Thinly sliced.
Yes.
I'm with you. I
Yes.
still don't think I'm ever going to reach into a
No,
jar
no.
and take a bite
Oh,
out of a whole
yes.
I saw
pickle.
Adam Sandler
pickle.
walking through the streets of New York with a picture of him with a jar of pickles, just eating from a jar
That's
of pickles.
incredible. No, it's not. But pickle is a great snack.
Yeah. I like
Just go
No,
in the
it's
fridge,
not.
you love pickle.
I like pickling things. I like the tart flavor profile, so I'm good on that. I actually did a commercial for Hellman's mayonnaise when I was younger, and that's when I started not liking mayonnaise because you do a lot of the, take a bite, spit it out into the garbage. I must have did that like 50 times.
Why would you spit it out if it's so good?
Well, they tell you to spit it out, and also you're doing it 50 times, so eating that much
Spit
plain
bucket.
bread with mayonnaise is not great. But on that set, you know how they this is the first time that I learned this about food on a set and how they make it all fake and perfect. They had a pin holding together a burger. Someone during the dinner scene took a bite out of the burger, and the pin got lodged
Oh,
with the roof
God.
of their mouth. Like, yeah.
Lawsuit?
Certainly a workers' comp situation.
I'd like to ask the group, which part of this Tom Brady quote is more of a lie? Are you ready? This is something that he said after yesterday's game to Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. Which part of this quote is more of a lie? Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'd much rather have it not come down to that. In the end, they all count the same. We've got to learn from it and move on. Obviously, we're playing for a division championship next week, which is pretty exciting for all of us.
I mean, he loves when it comes down to that. I mean, he lives for when it comes down to that.
But does he get excited about division championships when he says
No.
we're playing for a division championship next week, which is pretty exciting for all of us? Does he get excited? Do you think Tom Brady, the face that Botox face of his, moves to smile when he wins a division championship?
He's never won that division, so maybe.
He won a Super Bowl, though.
Yeah, but he didn't win that division, and I'm sure. Does
So
he
you
already have the record for most division titles? I'd assume so.
He has to. You're saying at this stage in his career, winning a division for the first time excites him?
It's rare when someone that old and that illustrious has yet to achieve something, and that's win a division with a different team. I'm grasping at straws here. I understand.
We have a heated Brady debate that's broken out in this room based on the mayonnaise conversation. When it's all said and done for his career, do you think that Brady is going to balloon? Like, do you think that he goes off of the whole TB12 thing? Because I said he looks like someone that enjoys mayonnaise, and everyone said, no. And they're like, well, when his career's over, maybe. And then someone, I'm not going to name names, said, I love the idea of a fat Tom Brady.
So wait, you think that discipline is just going to evaporate? The man has never eaten a strawberry. You think all of a sudden he's just going to be sitting down on a Barca lounger with an ice cream cake on his lap?
But you don't think he's ever looked at it and been like, what does that taste like? I want that in my mouth.
But we all agree, we all love the idea of a fat Tom Brady. I said it. I'll put my name on it.
Yeah, it was great.
But you also agree that will never happen, right? Not even if he develops a condition that makes him gain.
He's never had a
100 pounds.
soda.
I know, but he's had
just
all these
wait
years
till he retires.
thinking about it. What
You
does that
think it's
taste like?
think it's going to be an avalanche of I'm now free, and it's just going to be a descent into all manner of addiction.
You know what I've realized? I've also never eaten a strawberry.
What?
I've never
That's
gotten
insane.
a strawberry.
What's wrong with this
and
room?
taken a bite out of a
Chocolate
strawberry.
covered strawberry?
I've never
Wow.
grabbed a
You mean a whole
strawberry
strawberry? You've had
and taken a
sliced
bite.
strawberry.
Have you had
though.
strawberry
I haven't
candy?
not liked it. I don't like fruit. It's a thing with me. So I've just always
Okay.
assumed that I wouldn't like a strawberry. I'm down to try it if you want to let me out.
You don't
a
like
little bit or
grapes?
something.
Love a good grape. You
Grapes
don't love
are
a grape?
good.
If you had
I
to
don't
eat
like
fruit,
grapes.
like what are your least
Banana?
favorite fruit?
I like the
Apples?
citrusy fruits.
You like oranges, yeah.
lime, lemon. I could eat those things.
Good clemmy?
You
You like
could
a
eat a
good
whole
clemmy?
lemon? No, you can't.
Yeah, I have.
Why?
I've been known to. I
My
like
daughter
tart
likes-
stuff.
You've been
Hold on
known
a second.
to?
Wait. Time out. Hold on a second. You've never tried a strawberry, but you said, let me eat a whole lemon. How
No,
do
it's
you
just-
eat it?
it's
You
one of
bite
those
it? You
things-
slice it?
Yeah, you have it, you quarter it, and you're just lying around. You like the taste.
I'm kind
A
of with
little
you
salt.
on strawberries, like the little seeds on the outside. Like
no,
I
it's
don't
fuzzy.
love a
Great
strawberry.
texture. Isn't it
I've
fuzzy?
had a bunch of
It's
them.
got to
I'm-
be sliced for me. to
I'm
eat
not
it.
like
are
Mike.
delicious.
I'm not eating
Part
it
of a
like an
fruit
apple.
salad.
I'm not eating
Yeah.
a lime like an apple, you ingrates. No, I'm
Why you
I'm having it. I'm squirting all the juice and
Oh,
the
because
little,
that's super normal.
the little flavor bubbles. Put in between my
Spitting
teeth.
the seeds out.
There's no seeds in lime.
How are your teeth not see through from all the acid?
No, I'm definitely doing huge harm to my gums, no doubt. But I'm
I-
Cuban. I put lime on everything.
But I've never heard. Am I misunderstanding you? Are you saying that you will eat a lemon and a lime the way that others would eat a strawberry? That you would?
No, I'm saying I'll squeeze the juice in there. I'll pick apart the little exploding
but you won't
bubbles.
get the rinds. You're not chewing on rind and stuff, right?
No, but I can. I'll go to town.
I've got him
I'll
quarter-
totally empty out a lime.
I've got him quartering it and putting it in his mouth like a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
That's
done
what I've got
that.
him doing.
Yeah, call me Balrog.
Oh, okay. So you like it. You like it. I don't think a lot of people like that kind of tang. That's a little acidic.
tart.
Are
That's
you
a little
hungry
strong.
at the time? Like, is this satisfying some sort of hunger? What is
They're
this?
weird.
No,
What is
it's
this
just
accomplishing?
it's around. I like it. I like the taste. This is not something like if there was a lime on the table, I'm not gonna be like, let me have that. Let me eat this. But it's it happens occasionally. I like it. It's the only type of fruit that I like.
But
which
a
is my point.
strawberry, you're like, that's the line, never.
Well,
no,
what-
because I can tell it's a different type of.
What stranger, put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Batard show, that Mike Ryan has never had a strawberry or that Jessica has never had a glass of milk? Because I'd like to go around the room here. Would you guys like to make any sort of shocking admission on it? Can any of you top either of those two things? Does anyone in this
I
room,
mean, milk is so basic; it's hard to top, right?
never having had a glass of milk was surprising to me. But the thing they say about Tom Brady is that his living is so clean that he does not stray much at all. He eats the things that are compatible with his body. Like what we're talking about in the aging process in sports, it's going to be very hard for someone 200 years from now to explain Tom Brady. Like
He'll still be playing.
You're not gonna. That's right. You're not gonna have to explain it because the robotic
Let him
Tom
explain
Brady.
it. Yeah.
But were you saying he's now got more touchdowns scored than anyone over the age of 40?
Mike, you will love this. Tom Brady yesterday with his QB sneak, not touchdown passes. He tied, okay, for most touchdowns scored after the age of 40. He tied Jerry Rice. I mean,
Scored.
scored.
Just scored.
Scored
Yes.
himself.
Scored.
He
Like
didn't
Remember
throw
how
it to
good
anyone.
Jerry
He
was?
scored.
How old was Jerry with the Raiders? Was he over 40?
he a little
know.
over 40.
Yeah.
A little over 40. Like 40. He got to 41. I think he played.
We don't
to,
talk enough about that.
as a wide receiver.
Crazy.
That is wild to me.
I'm checking his stats right now.
A 40-year-old wide receiver.
Yes.
Think about how young we've seen greats lapse
Mike-
out of that position.
Mike, I've got one for you. How about this? Wide receiver. I'm pretty sure Darryl Green played cornerback into his 40s.
Yeah.
He did.
That
did.
position
He did.
in your
Yeah.
40s. But
that one seems even harder.
But look at Whitworth. You tell me tonight, right? The Rams are tonight. Whitworth,
He's 40.
He's 40 years old and so rarely hurt and still amazing. 40 years old as a left tackle. And last night it was Jason Peters, right? Isn't Jason Peters 39?
Yeah, he's a shell. He's a shell. But to do it at that level, to be crisp out of your breaks at 40, that's just wild. Don't.
Okay, but
I didn't enjoy it enough. I was too young to be like, this is never going to happen again.
But Mike, listen to this. 2 guys in the history of football have scored 10 touchdowns after the age of 40. Tom Brady and Jerry Rice.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady's out here. It's just, it is. The whole thing is nuts. In a league where everyone is either 6-7 or 7-6. Everyone is in the hunt. And then above them all, still
Brady and Rodgers.
Josh Allen trying so hard to get in the game, leaving in a walking boot. Chris Cody's got opinions on this.
I just think any quarterback, if you lose a tough game, just leave the stadium in a walking boot.
Always.
Yes.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
gives
It's a
off,
heady
I worked
play.
hard,
Yeah.
I played hurt,
Yep.
I have guts,
I battled. Yeah.
and people forget that you
The
lost.
Ben Roethlisberger special.
Yep.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Lebitard show.
And then say, I don't like to talk about injuries. Injuries are
I
excuses.
don't make excuses.
I don't make excuses,
Yeah.
but
You
you
say,
have
I'll
your
be
arm-
fine.
Yeah.
I should be fine next week.
Yeah. Baker has his arm in a sling and a boot on his ankle. I don't like to talk about it. I'm not making a big show out of my injuries.
Put it on the poll at Lebitard show. If you were a quarterback, would you go to the game and bring a walking boot in case you lost?
You know what I would do?
Might do it in a win.
I would when I walk
Thank
through
you.
the tunnel during pregame, I'm gonna be carrying a walking boot and a sling and tell the media I know what it's gonna take. I'm gonna give it my all. This is what I'm expecting. That's a lunch pail.
I love the idea of going on a road trip and then putting in your suitcase as you go 2 walking boots and just having them as your shoes.
Well, that's a Carson Wentz.
What about putting your full uniform on and walking onto the field with one of your feet in a walking boot? Like, I'm going to still play today. I'm going to try to play. But just so you know, I needed this to get to the bench.
You know what else was crazy? Phillip Rivers played, I believe, an AFC championship with a torn ACL.
That's been reported. I still don't
No, he
understand
definitely
that.
did. I remember that game. And LT was on the sideline, and everyone was like, well, look at our quarterback. Look how tough he was. It was a little weird in retrospect that people were just singling out LT that way. But he played an entire AFC championship with a torn ACL. No doubt about it. You can tell by the way that he moves. And he always kind of moved like he had a torn ACL anyways, Phillip
I
Rivers.
was gonna say, how would you know?
No, but it really sucked out.
Guillermo, put it on the poll at Lebitard show. Did Phillip Rivers always sort of move like he had
If Rivers had a torn ACL, would you know?
like he had a torn ACL?
Mike, he did suffer that torn ACL in the divisional round against the Colts.
And he still played.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice had 1,200 yards receiving at 40 years old. 92 catches. He hauled in 92 balls at 40. You remember what T.O. looked like after 35? How? How do you do this?
Well, T.O., I feel like T.O., looking at him, could still play in the league, and he's 47. I saw that Buffalo did a Legends of the Game thing with him, and I'd forgotten entirely that he played in Buffalo.
He had 1 year there, 1 season there.
I think
it was just under 1,000 yards too. I mean, it hasn't been great for the last 20 years for the Buffalo Bills.
I want to ask you guys this question based on yesterday's results, Cincinnati and San Francisco. The game ended, and it was very unsatisfying to me, with someone announcing, a referee announcing, the play is a touchdown, the game is over. And then the celebration started, and it felt wrong to me. It felt wrong to me to have the game finish in overtime, and it have to be the announcement is what made the excitement.
The original call was no touchdown. They went to the booth and called it a touchdown. I get what you're saying, though. You have to wait 5 minutes.
It didn't feel great. It didn't feel right. Like yesterday was a crappy football Sunday that was rescued by the last parts of the last game. Like it was crud all over the place. Everyone's crawling around. Bunch of the bad teams are getting eviscerated. The good teams are doing what Kansas City did yesterday.
But that final hour, man, it delivered.
Well, the final 15 minutes.
Yeah, but it was an hour. I mean, in real time. But it delivered, Dan. It was exciting. 2 games going to OT at the same time.
The ref saying that reminded me of the end of the Miami FSU game where the Miami quarterback spiked the ball and then they called, like, you can't spike the ball with less than 3 seconds. And then the ref just came on the field and was like, you can't spike the ball with less than 3 seconds. Therefore, the ball game is over.
It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right to have Cincinnati and San Francisco end that way when you've got Joe Burrow making those throws to Jamar Chase. Like they're trying to stay in the game. And then you've got that Frankenstein Kittle going for 7,000 yards.
Can we all agree in college? I think many of us learned that. Mike Norvell didn't because he was like in the ref's ear. He obviously knew that. Manny Diaz didn't. But that's a bad rule in college football. How exciting is it when you get a first down and you're rushing to spike it and beat the clock? You can do that in 3 seconds. What are they accounting for variance? Who put that in place?
Yes, and you know what? That is exactly what they're accounting for because I tweeted about this when it happened at the end of that game. There were people in my Twitter mentions arguing about tenths of a second on the game clock in college football for literally 3 weeks. Just back and forth, like, well, if they stopped it and the time was technically 2 seconds and 1/10, then this. I'm like, the game clock doesn't have tenths of a second. Like, just shut up. Like,
why
it's
doesn't
not
it?
that deep.
I feel like the football clock should have tenths of a second.
Yes.
Once we get into less than a minute. Yes. If they can do it in the NBA, why couldn't they do it in football?
Yeah. Why?
I feel like we should add more hyper-examination to every
Exactly.
inch
Yes.
and every
Do it.
fraction of a second of
That's what the
football.
sport
We
needs.
need the sport needs a little more hyper-examination in every cranny and crevice.
How about this? Witty, you'll like this one. How about instead of yard lines, we then do smaller foot lines also,
Inch
and then
lines.
Inch lines.
with
Inch lines,
stencils like inch lines, and then it'll be more precise placement of the ball.
It's a game
More
of
lines.
inches. I mean,
That's right.
But he's saying it could be even more precise than that. Even more precise
Centimeters?
than game of
It's
inches.
a
Why
game of
stop with
centimeters.
tenths of a second? Why not do like thousandths of a second? Right, Witty?
I mean, let's get crazy. I'm in. Listen,
get crazy.
I watched
This is crazy
a
for you, huh?
women's college basketball game before the MLS Cup final, where I shit you not, it took 13 minutes for 2 seconds to go off the game clock. Between reviews and fouls, I'm waiting for the MLS Cup broadcast to start. And I kid you not, 2 seconds went off the clock in 13 real minutes. That sport is being hyper-examined. I think we can do it slightly more in football.
What were you saying? I heard you in the hallway. You walked past Stugotz and said, I had the weirdest sports experience that I couldn't share with anybody, and I didn't know what you were talking about.
I was talking about the end of the F1 race, which I'm sure we're going to get to at some point with Jessica. But I was watching the end of the F1 race on a plane, and I was like literally like I was wearing a mask, but I was like mouth hanging open like for 5 minutes between the cars getting out of the way. I'm like, all right, they're gonna race. There's a last lap. Verstappen takes over Hamilton, and I am flabbergasted for 10 straight minutes, and I'm looking around the plane. Is anyone watching this? And I saw, as I was walking to my seat when I was getting on the plane, that like the guy in the first row of coach was watching it, and I wanted to like run up to him and shake him. Like, it's one of those where it's like, I have nobody to share this with. I'm on the plane Wi-Fi, and so I can't stop watching to then get on Twitter. I had a completely solo sports viewing experience of one of the greatest moments in the history of motorsports, or the worst, depending on your perspective.
Well, let's get into this. Can you guys explain this to Chris Cody? Because Chris Cody Jessica, when she got in here, was talking a mile a minute because of how exciting and weird and upsetting this whole thing was. And she began to explain it to Chris Cody, and I said, save it for the show. So, Chris, you know what about what happened yesterday in F1?
I knew that there was crazy drama and it came down to Hamilton and Verstappen, but I just wanted to know the exact details of like what needed to happen in the race. I was unsure about that.
Well, you're in luck. Should we do my F1 minute now, Dan?
I feel like we need more than a minute today.
Yeah,
I love doing the time.
Take two, yeah.
The time bit is great. I just don't think that today is a day for it, because there's so much that happened in this race.
Why don't we do this?
All right, well, okay. Go ahead.
Why don't we do this? Start with a minute, and then maybe there'll be extra time.
No, because
See how it's
like
going.
Jessica like talks at the speed of an F1 car.
Yeah, and
when
it's
she
fun.
does a minute. It's fun?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you
Let's
want to
do it.
slow
And
it
then we'll
down.
There's like
discuss it
so much
afterwards.
context that's required that like you lose the context when you start
go.
calling people Baby Lando.
People call for my F1 minute just all week. They say, I can't
all
wait to
said.
hear you try to say this in 1 minute. So here we go.
I want your
try.
F1 10
Billy,
minutes.
you
I
can
want more time for you.
45 seconds.
For this race, no. I think
Oh.
I could do this maybe in like 75 seconds, which is more
I'm
than a
looking
minute.
at your note card. No shot that's
There's
a
no
minute.
way that's a
There's
minute.
no shot that's a minute.
Good 5
I like
minutes
a
right
challenge.
Billy, you have come in off vacation on fire, my friend.
I'm sick too.
there. I noticed
What?
it. Yeah.
He's been coughing.
Yeah,
Coughing
sorry.
a lot.
Should I go to
Alright.
the other room?
Let's go ahead and do this. You're
Put a
coughing.
second mask
You're
on
just
or
coughing muffle into your mask. Yes, put a second mask on, please. Go ahead, Jessica. Start your F1 minute.
The starting grid was Max, Lewis, and Lando. Lights out in Abu Dhabi. Lewis gets the fastest start. Max is on soft tires, and Lewis is on mediums. Baby Lando has a bad start. Frowning face. Turn 7, Lewis goes off track to avoid contact. Lewis keeps the lead. Stewards say no investigation. We saw this happen in Brazil, and Christian Horner, shocker, is upset. Red Bull pits, hard tires for Max. Mercedes pits, Perez, Hamilton, Sainz, Verstappen, lap 17. Lap 20, Lewis and Checo are battling for first place. Lewis gets ahead of Perez, has fastest pace. Kimi Räikkönen retires his car and retires permanently. He's gone. He's no longer an F1 racer. Giovinazzi stalls, virtual safety car on lap 36. Lewis stays out, Max pits, fresh tires. Lewis is out in front. So whatever they do, Red Bull will do the opposite. 20 laps to go. Even with fresh tires, Verstappen can't keep pace. Christian Horner tells Sky Red Bull needs a miracle to win. Well, lo and behold, there's a miracle. Nicholas Latifi hits the wall with 5 laps to go. There's a safety car. Verstappen pits again. He's on fresher tires. 4 laps to go. Latifi's car needs to be cleared off the track for them to continue racing. Will there be any more racing laps? Does the race end behind the safety car? And will lap cars get to drive through? The FIA decides, well, sure, whatever. We'll just decide on the spot to let the cars between Max and Lewis unlap. There's 1 lap to go. They get 1 lap of racing to finish the Drivers' Cup Championship.
Time!
Verstappen and
Oh.
No,
let me
you
finish.
push through.
Verstappen and Hamilton are tied. Whoever wins this race wins the championship. There's 1 lap to go, so they get to race for the final lap. Verstappen's on the soft tires, the faster tires. Lewis has been on the same tires for like 30 laps now. They race to the checkered flag to win. Verstappen gets ahead of Lewis because there's no cars in between them anymore. He gets to race the checkered flag to win the championship, and that's it.
You got that,
Wow.
Chris? You got it?
I digested none of that.
What the hell happened? I mean,
I'm more confused.
who won?
Well, Max Verstappen won because he was able to basically win the final lap despite the FIA kind of changing the rules in midair. Like, they're building the plane in the sky with this safety car that happened in the last 4 laps. So Verstappen, who by all accounts was beat, like Lewis was in the lead with 14 laps to go. Verstappen wasn't able to make up the pace that he had lost earlier in the race. Lewis's car was faster. Even though he had older tires, he had the pace to win the race. Like, there was no chance Verstappen was going to keep up. That's why Christian Horner said they needed a miracle for Verstappen to win. So Lewis thought he had this in the bag until Nicholas Latifi, out of nowhere, he's in like last place. He crashes. So that crash completely changed the outcome of the race. So There's a
it was
conspiracy.
no, it
but-
wasn't on purpose because Latifi is a Mercedes driver. He drives under the Williams
Yeah,
brand,
but you don't know
he
who's
drives
paying
under the
who
same
under the
team.
table. I mean, Christian
come
Horner will
on.
do anything to
What
win.
are you on
I'm
about?
kidding. I don't think there's any conspiracy because honestly, this race could have just as easily ended under the safety car, which would have benefited Hamilton because the status quo was Hamilton in first place. But what people are really hung up about. Baby Lando.
It's Lando
had a
Norris.
really,
His
really
first name is
bad
not
start,
Baby.
even though he was in.
So he's not Lewis or the other one?
P3 to
Yeah.
start the race. It was very upsetting. But he won the F1.5 championship, which is the fans of Formula One who ignore
1.5?
Red Bull and Mercedes.
Jess, you're
have
like
a
intent on
1.5.
confusing everybody.
This is a confusing sport. You're telling me that people who are first-time fans of Formula
That's
One were
precisely why
confused after
clarity is
yesterday?
required.
Okay, why?
He's so upset.
There
I've
is
never seen
there is
Whittingham
no
this
clarity.
upset.
Let me explain. So what happened with the final lap?
But I feel like people now know less about what it is
That's
that we were
fine.
just asking.
I know
about.
less about F1 yesterday than I did before.
Didn't it kind of seem that they just wanted to ensure the most dramatic way
Yes,
to
that's
end
exactly
a
what happened.
dramatic season?
That's exactly what happened. Michael Massey, the race director, decided we're not going to finish under the safety car. We're going to have a final racing lap to finish the championship, which, would have been fine had they decided to either let all the lapped cars ahead or none of them ahead. But instead, they chose that the lapped cars in between Lewis and Verstappen were able to drive through. So Verstappen was able to restart right behind Lewis Hamilton, which is not what the rule book says. So there's this whole pedantic argument about the rules, and so Mercedes ended up challenging the ruling, and so they had a whole thing. But I don't think anyone really thought that the stewards were going to overturn the outcome of the race because that would have
Whittingham,
made them look even worse.
Who won?
Where was your mouth hanging open? A
Okay,
good
so-
question,
yeah,
Stugotz.
yes.
We'll get to it.
Okay, right. So the stewards are the people who kind of dictate the rules over the course of the race. So my mouth was hanging open. So first off, the crash, because you see the crash. Verstappen goes into pit to get new tires. So he's on new tires, but Hamilton is not because he can give up his position if he goes to pit. So you know that if they race again and Verstappen is close to Hamilton, that Verstappen is going to overtake him. And so the question is, do they have the time left to actually race? Because the crash
I said
happens.
all of this, by the way.
The crash happens with
Same thing that I already said.
Well, now he's mansplaining.
What are hard and soft tires?
I didn't say that, Dan. Soft tires are faster, but they don't last as long. So Verstappen, a critical
There's three
error
different
that,
kinds of Formula One
critical error that Red Bull made in
just be
qualifying,
one.
whatever
Medium
tire
tires?
you
What's the
finish
other one?
qualifying on, you have to start the race with. So they decided to have Verstappen finish qualifying in soft tires because they're faster, and he was able to get the slipstream on his teammate Sergio Perez and get on pole
slipstream.
position, which means that you can start at the top of the grid. But the only problem is that then you have to pit sooner because after 15 laps, the soft tires degrade because the track's really hot and you're driving so fast that the tires literally turn into shreds. There's no tread anymore, and so you can't maneuver your cars easily. So that was a critical error for Red Bull, and it looked as if that was going to be a deciding factor in this race. That and the incident on turn 7, I believe, in lap 1, where Lewis Hamilton. So Verstappen took a really hard angle at the apex, and Lewis Hamilton went off track to avoid a collision and cut off the front of Verstappen and made up some time. And so he kind of slowed down a little to give back some of the time. And that's why the stewards
He didn't
decided.
get back all the time.
Well, the stewards have that data. We don't really see that. So they decided, and there's, Christian Horner was upset about it. It ended up ultimately not mattering for them. But
And who's Christian Horner?
Christian Horner is the team principal of Red Bull.
Well,
He's the one who's married to the Spice Girl.
You started downloading all
Ginger.
this 9 months
Ginger
ago,
Spice.
right? You started downloading all of this 9 months ago. You did not
Yes.
care 9 months and 1 day ago, correct?
And it's on a serious note, one of the barriers of entry for knowledge about this sport to me was not understanding the rules, because there's so many rules about what the car can look like, what the measurements of the car, the weights of the car, and then the rules around just the sport in general, like race week, what are the procedures in place. And learning that has been really difficult. So then with what happened yesterday on the final lap, where there is a rule book and you're kind of made to understand what can happen, actually none of that even matters. The stewards are just going to decide, or Michael Massey, the race director, is going to decide at the very most critical moment in the season what to do, because it's what he thinks is right and not what the rule book says is right. It's very confusing,
But
and I
I
can
like
see.
that.
But it's simultaneously the most confusing and the least confusing thing.
Right.
Because the most confusing is that, what are these rules? The least confusing is, hey, these two dudes are going to race one lap for the title.
Yeah.
But
They've
the-
been
but the-
neck
And it was
neck all
awesome. And it
season.
was awesome.
It was great,
But yes, I agree.
but it wasn't a fair fight.
But it was unfair, right? Based on the tires.
Depending on who I think if it had happened the other way and Hamilton was in second and Verstappen was in the lead and they took all the lapped cars out in between, Hamilton fans would be like losing their mind, because the thing about both of these teams is that each one thinks that the other one is undermining them and has favoritism
But you
over them
can't for
all
the,
season long.
for the sport, though, whether it's college football or really, given the randomness of professional football and injuries and everything else, you can't do better ending any sport than the way they ended that one. You're big names, everyone confused.
Two biggest names, one lap for everything.
Just controversy everywhere. Everyone yelling about your sport. So we're sitting here talking about it on a football Monday. You cannot have, if you're growing your sport the way F1, look, F1 worldwide is very popular, but if you're growing your sport in the United States,
the last 10 months for F1 could have not gone any better. Between the Netflix documentary, between how the race for the title is played out all season long, it going to the final day, it not just being Lewis Hamilton's sport anymore because he's won the last 5 titles or 6
it's
titles.
a terrible ending,
He's won
but
the
it's
last
but it's
he's
a
won 7 titles.
Well, it's an unfair ending. It's a great ending, but an unfair ending for Lewis Hamilton. And it has to be an even playing field. It has to be.
It's never an even playing field in F1, though, because there is so much subjectivity to the stewards and the race director during the race to decide what the
Stugotz thought he
penalty is.
had
We
you with
saw
just
it
even playing
in the Saudi
field.
Close.
Arabian Grand
Yeah.
Prix,
But-
where the race director decided to like negotiate
I'm
a
learning.
penalty for Red Bull midway through, and people listening were like, "Wait, you can do that? They can just accept or not accept the penalty? How does this even work?" So I think like from what I understand following F1 this season is that like a lot of fans of the sport who have been fans of the sport for a long time are a little genuinely upset by this outcome, because it kind of goes against like sporting fairness, but understand that like they finished the race in a driving lap, and so that is an important factor in entertainment. And so there's kind of this like tension between, are we supposed to be entertained by this, or is this actual sport? And like I take neither side, because I think it was super exciting, and I understand the people who are up in arms about it, because it truly, like, if this were something that I really, really cared about for my entire life and I knew this rule book, I would be like, what? Like, it's like if we're playing the Super Bowl, right? And Tom Brady's winning by 6 points, and the other team has the ball on the 2-yard line. And they're trying to score. And they said, okay, this is how we're going to finish the game. And the defense, 5 players leave the field. So it's like 11 on, 6 to end the game. Like, it's the same
Not an even
thing.
playing field.
It's
right.
not. It doesn't really make a lot of
So
sense.
we're
Stugotz
on
gets
even
it.
playing field. He does
I got
get
it.
Maybe a
Yeah.
bad
Stugotz-
analogy, but
Stugotz
it's like
wins.
at the very last minute, and it happened so quickly. Within 2 minutes, they went from like, are we even going to finish? Are we going to finish this race under a safety car? Are we going to let the lapped cars through? Are we not going to let the lapped cars through? Okay, we're going to let half the lapped cars through, and we're going to finish in a driving lap. Safety cars leaving. Like, that happened in 2 minutes. And so the drivers have all of this flashing on their screen. And the other thing about F1 is that the team principals can appeal directly to the race director in the middle of the race. So Christian Horner is pleading his case, saying like, we want to finish in a racing lap, like we want to finish in the race lap. And Toto Wolff, the Mercedes guy, who's the one who's on social media like drunk on all these videos this morning that people are posting, he's like, Michael, like, you can't do it this way. Like, you can't end it this way. So like, this drama is all playing out. It's incredibly entertaining, but it's also like I can see why Mercedes and Hamilton fans are really upset. Baby Lando, however, finished
Holy
the
cow.
1.5 championship.
I'm watching these Toto
as the
Wolff
winner.
videos. Wow. That guy's getting
He got
after it.
Yeah, he got after it.
I mean,
last
they are
night.
celebrating because their team did win the
Constructors'
prize.
Cup.
Who won?
Mercedes won the Constructors' Cup, which is like the points of both drivers added up.
Did Lewis go to this party?
Stugotz.
Lewis hasn't posted anything on social media. So there's the Constructors' Cup and the Drivers' Championship. So the Drivers' Championships, like every driver against one another. Constructors' Cup are both drivers on the team, and all their points are added up. So Mercedes actually has another driver, Valtteri Bottas, who's leaving at the end of this season.
Bottas is wasted.
Well, there's something funny. There's something funny happening here right now, okay? Because Jessica, I feel for you. And this story deserves the kind of attention and care and passion that you have for it. But
Thank you.
the hijacking of the show here.
What do you mean?
Well, Billy, we lost Billy about an hour ago.
I was in on all that.
No, you were not.
He asked what happened on the seventh turn.
No,
I mean.
listen. I lost 2 people during this segment, and I will spot them for you, the audience, because they were not helping Jessica. They were not helping the segment. Billy bailed. He bailed only to shout from a corner, "Please tell me more."
I was wondering what
He had
happened in the
good, he
last
had good
7.
follow-up
Thank
questions. It was
you.
turn 7,
No,
but yes.
no,
you.
Sorry.
but the
Yeah,
one I
Jess,
want to
he wasn't an ally there.
Yes, I was.
the one I want to turn our attention to is Stugotz, whose only role the entire time that Jessica was carrying around that lift of explaining
Thank
all
God.
that junk. Stugotz's contributions were who won, asked 3 times, never answered.
Still don't
It's
know.
Even
I mean-
playing field. And that's
I was
it.
trying to even it out. I mean,
You were no help to anyone, as you and Billy just did not help Jessica at all. Bad teammates.
do you know who won?
I still don't know.
Max Verstappen won. It's his first championship. He's 24 years
Baby
old.
Lando.
Baby Lando won the Formula 1.5 championship.
You know what? Just take it from the
Jessica,
top.
why are you still doing the 1.5 championship?
one-
Because
1.5,
Baby
give me a
Lando
headache.
is my driver, and my team is McLaren.
Let's run through it one more time just so we can all get
All right.
it.
Is this
Now-
all
Do
gonna
it
be
at
on
one-
the
Do it
Netflix
again.
show,
Run
or
it
is
back.
that done?
Run it back.
Do it at 1.5
This is
speed
all
this
going to be on
time.
season
yeah.
4
Just
Drive
do
to
it
Survive,
faster.
which will come out
1.5
this
Way
speed.
faster. The
So this
fastest
is
you've ever
rigged.
done.
Starting grid is Max,
This is
Lewis,
fake.
Lando, lights out. Lewis gets the fastest
I
start.
need
Max
to
is
know
on top
more.
track. Lewis on medium. Baby Lando with the fast
Everyone
start.
start
Ronnie Wayne,
dancing.
7. Lewis goes off track to avoid contact. Lewis keeps the lead. Stewards, no investigation. We saw this happen in Brazil. And Christian Horner, shocker, is upset. Red Bull pits, hard tires for Max. Mercedes pits, Perez, Hamilton, Sainz, Barrett. Verstappen, lap 17, lap 20, Lewis and Checo are battling for first place. Very driving right, Checo, by the way. Lewis gets ahead of Perez, has fastest pace. Kimi Raikkonen retires and permanently retires. Also, Franny face Giovanni stalls. Virtual safety car, lap 36. Lewis stays out. Matt pits, fresh tires. Lewis is in front, so whatever they do, Red Bull will do the opposite. 20 laps to go, even with fresh tires. Verstappen can't keep pace for Christian Horner tells Sky. Red Bull, he needs a miracle to win. Well, lo and behold, there's a miracle. Nicholas Latifi into the wall. Safety car. Verstappen pits again. 4 laps to go. Latifi's car needs to be cleared up the track. Will there be any more race laps? With race up time, safety car will lap cars drive through. FIA decides to let the cars between Max and Lewis on lap 1 lap to go. Max and Lewis safety car ends. Race to the checkered flag. Verstappen overtakes Hamilton. He's got fresher tires. He's on top. Verstappen's in the lead. Verstappen gets across the line and wins the Drivers' Championship. Verstappen wins. He's the world champion. The Flying Dutchman.
Oh my God, Lewis Hamilton
Baby
won.
Lando wins the Formula 1.5 champion.
I got 3 NFL coaches quotes in front of me here, Stugotz, that made me smile. One of them is Matt Rule talking about Cam Newton and just saying, quote, "We're looking for things to not be catastrophic." And if you've seen the cam return,
Manage the game.
the cam return really peaked at "I'm back" with an end zone run first game. It's been all downhill from there. From the dramatic first moment, they don't have a quarterback, and Cam Newton is spent at an alarming age as Tom Brady, 12 years older, has another rushing touchdown, of which Bruce Arians says of Tom Brady, I think he ran 7 times for 16 yards. The quote is, "That's enough of that shit," end quote. From Bruce Arians, because yes, he doesn't want him running at all. But Tom Brady put his shoulder into somebody yesterday trying to get a first down. Knock it off, Tom.
He's talking about like the 12-yard runs, right? He knows he needs the quarterback sneak. Arians knows that. He's smart. Any coach who coaches Brady knows that's that's a massive weapon in his arsenal.
It's the most unstoppable play in the history of the sport. Put it on the poll, Guillermo at Batard Show. Is Tom Brady's quarterback sneak the most unstoppable play in the history of all sports and all conflict?
He gets it every time.
Yes, every time.
The "I'm back" game for Cam Newton, he didn't start that game. He was effective as a surprise weapon, but not the starter. I believe he's lost 11 consecutive games as Carolina Panthers starting quarterback.
I'm sure that's going over well with Carolina's billionaire owner. I'm sure he's going to be very patient about
Apparently
all of that.
Tough to work for. I did some digging on the Joe Brady beat before I decided I didn't want on any more beats anymore. And Matt Rule apparently already got to the point where he needed a scapegoat. He called Joe Brady immature on the way out, too. Just trying to plant seeds. That was Mike Ryan exclusive. And my final one, I think, on this beat.
And the third, this one's not a quote. It's delightful if you are someone who does not like Urban Meyer. He is now stomping around the building, and he's going to catch that leaker, and that leaker is going to be unemployed. And that's how we're going to spend the time now, threatening to unemploy leakers.
My man.
I feel like if I'm the leaker, I'm like, hell yeah.
What happens if Trevor
Job well
Lawrence,
done. Mission accomplished.
What happens if Trevor Lawrence is like, "It's me. Do something."
That's a great career move by Trevor Lawrence then.
I dare you.
Please cut me. Please let me go.
The reports from Jay Glazer, Urban Meyer reached out to Jay Glazer and basically was just upset about the Marvin Jones conflict. And there was a conflict between them, but he didn't like how that was reported. And the thing that was confirmed is that he's very aggressive with his coaches, although I don't think he confirmed calling his assistant coaches losers. But what is happening right now in Jacksonville is the very strong feeling everywhere. Like Urban Meyer's like, hey, this is all everyone else's fault. and that does not go over in the locker room when you're sitting there giving the press conference and a reporter's just punching your offensive line saying it's not worth the money and it was terrible. And the last thing you do after 16 seconds is just confirm it. We're going to play that sound for you in a second. But Urban Meyer seems to be someone in the accountability business who wants everyone else to be accountable, but and he can pay lip service to saying it's on all of us, and Steve Spurrier bought himself something when he would say we were outcoached, but that's not what Urban Meyer is saying.
He's saying you were outcoached.
He's saying the rest of you were outcoached. If everybody would do what it is that my genius provides, we wouldn't be in this predicament.
You've been telling us all year that you have faith in that offensive line. They're getting their ass kicked every week. Like, what's going on there? They're getting paid a lot of money to be better than what they've been.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
He nailed it. I mean.
The Fullcast After Dark crew had a great point about this, which was Urban Meyer's worst season in college football was 8-5. And he quit the sport because of it. 8-5, which in college for Florida is below his standard, but it's still winning a little less than 2/3 of your games. Taking the Jags job given the amount of losing that was going to come in year one, like the lack of self-awareness is astounding.
Well, there are a couple of things from yesterday, okay? I'm going to, forgive me for a second because I'm going to yammer for a second, but there were a couple of things from yesterday that I found just bigger picture, human beings, the sports world bigger than football. One of them was watching Lamar Jackson, athlete of athletes, on a field filled with athletes, try to do something against Myles Garrett and The Blind Side, written about by Michael Lewis because of how important it is to protect. You got a couple of guys in the league, Myles Garrett's, you not just Myles Garrett, you got a couple of guys in the league, right? Because Chris Cody was asking whether we believe that all of us, if we got on a field somewhere, do you think that all of us could keep Micah Parsons?
I'm picturing a 5-person offensive line and a tight end. So 6 of us, and it's just Micah Parsons trying to get to a quarterback.
All of us. I think it's all of us. Not 5. I think all of us. Tony, Jess, could all of us keep Micah Parsons?
I think we got it.
From getting.
It's literally, there's 10 of us in here. Come on.
No, we could.
Well, he wears pads, but we don't.
Are we playing like Red
no.
Rover?
I need pads. No,
He wears pants. We
I need
don't.
pads.
What?
No.
I get extra pads,
Absolutely
actually.
not.
And it was just it was fascinating to just watch the chess game evolution of the chess game, right? Because you've basically got Cleveland getting those defensive end because they've got to contend with Lamar Jackson in that division. And so that having the game crystallized into that small a space where Lamar Jackson is trying to be the best athlete with edge rushers was interesting to me. And another thing that was interesting to me was Urban Meyer's entire career arc, the wrestling match that he has had between I've got to get back to my family, according to him, and falling to his knees, suffering from the pain because this sport is not good for his health. The way that he approaches this sport with the being particular about perfectionism, you can imagine the misery that is living in Jacksonville right now. If you're that kind of perfectionist who's choosing to do this, Stugotz, over your family and your health, where we've seen you in the sport physically on your knees on the sidelines. The sport does awful things to this man's well-being, and he's so addicted to it
that he keeps going back.
And now he's in the middle of this suffering, and I wonder, and I know everybody's like, well, he makes a lot of money. But this has to be deeply unpleasant for someone like him to have everyone laughing at him. Like, you're not a genius. You've got bad players. You're fighting with Marvin Jones. Nobody there respects you because...
he denied the Marvin Jones part.
He did. Yeah.
Well, he denied... No, he denied that...
I believe everything
No, wait a minute. He did not deny... He did not deny that there was an argument with Marvin Jones. He denied the details of how that argument went. He said that they were fine regardless. Can you imagine what it's like to be Urban Meyer right now? I know Stugotz, everyone in the audience would say, give me his money. I'll take all the shame. But I'm telling you, that dude must be like in some uncommon kind of misery to be not just losing, because that's bad enough to show up on Monday, shut out Trevor Lawrence. You don't know if you have any kind of future there as a football team. It's not just losing. It's that everyone's enjoying watching you lose. And more than that, they're laughing at you now. Worst you ever had was 8-5. Laughing and enjoying your misery.
We talked it out back here. We feel pretty confident that we can pancake Micah Parsons. If it's 10 of us, we developed our strategy. We're going to stagger the line a little bit. Chris brought to the table, hey, what if we handle it like a punt block where there's just waves? I'm like, let's do that, but stagger. That way we can all converge. And if we have 3.5 seconds to get rid of the ball, and there's a ref there, which means he has to play it legal, but so do we. Okay, we're not going to play dirty. I think we can handle this. I think all of us converging at once.
What was that,
we'll
Jessica?
Make sure to pancake him.
Jessica, what was that? What?
By comparison to her sneeze on Mystery Crate, that was dainty.
Jessica, what? I don't understand.
It was a very tame
it was a
sneeze.
change up of a sneeze, and then you were hiding under the microphone. You were trying to hide under the microphone.
I didn't think you could hear it, Dan.
It was professional. It was well done.
Thank you.
I don't think
that's never my goal, but thank you.
How have you sneezed so much on the air already? You are the league leader in sneezing on the air around here.
Never happened to me once.
I don't think the whole group has sneezed as many times as you have sneezed. Do you have an allergy? Is there an allergy to bad takes?
Maybe it just smells like Grajo back here.
Is there anything wrong with what Urban Meyer actually said, though? Blaming his assistant coaches? He's right. I mean,
Wait, what?
what do you mean?
He hired them.
Yeah, I understand that.
He spent time in front of the team calling them losers. He hired them.
I know, but aren't they kind of losers? I mean,
Daryl
seriously.
Bevel won a Super Bowl.
He did? Bevel as a head coach?
As an offensive coordinator.
Who cares?
There
I
are
mean,
That's his
7 who have won
job.
national
what has
championships,
Charlie
I believe,
Strong
on
ever
his staff.
done? I mean, think about it.
How many national championships on his
I think
staff?
7 national championships on his staff. I'm reading Kaylin Kaler's defector article where she broke down everyone's bona fides.
Losers calling. I mean, come on. That I think the reason that all of us winced on that one is it's like, oh, as an added bonus, look, he's an asshole to work for. Like as an added bonus, like, oh, and all of these people who are your colleagues who are in it with you, they're losers. You're not a loser, but they're losers. Ouch.
Man, I just love the visual of all of us in pads trying to stop Micah Parsons.
How many of us, where would you lose confidence? Where would I have to put the number if I said it was 4 of us, 5 of us, 3 of us?
We need all of us.
No, we need 10. You said 10. You can't take that
no,
back.
but what Chris had it as an offensive line. I thought we could throw all of us in there, but Chris has us as an offensive line of no tight end.
No,
just 5.
I gave us a tight end. I pitched this last night in our thing, so there was only 6 of us in there.
So the question is,
So we're running 11?
I think
personnel?
6 is actually. I think 6 is like that nice line where I think
I'd
it
be
would
nervous
be tough.
at 6,
It would be
yeah.
tough for 6.
Yeah.
If you give us 10 and we're all ready to go, we
Well-
all sniff some of that shit you're supposed to sniff, whatever it's called.
Smelling salt.
Smelling
Smelling
salts.
salt.
Yeah, but we
Oh,
all
God.
have to be
I
like
will
max
never do
ready.
I felt
smelling
like
salts
I felt like
again.
you were trying to get me on that one.
Jessica, you'll never do smelling salts?
Smelling salt. It went straight into my brain.
I loved it.
Oh, horrible.
Yeah.
Never again.
Like that shit.
It's not
Wake your
surprising.
ass up.
That's not
You and me both.
surprising. Put it on the poll, Guillermo, please, at Le Batard Show. Do you like smelling salts?
Crack and pull.
A couple of us though are gonna just get demolished. We just
Yeah,
have to. We have
yeah.
to sacrifice a
We
couple
gotta-
of
we
us.
gotta-
Yeah, but
we gotta
2
put the
of
biggest
us,
guys at the
right.
front.
Yeah, we
Damn
need,
it.
So Tony and
Me
I
and
will.
Dan.
We'll take. Well,
you
Dan,
guys need to
ooh,
make that sacrifice.
Dan,
Little chip
Dan's
block
our
off the
leader. I
line,
think Dan's
right.
our best blocker.
Well,
He'd be our left tackle.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
gonna take a lot from Mike.
What position are we all playing? I've got Dan at left tackle. I've got
Yep.
Mike at right tackle. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm a guard.
Here's what's going to
Witty at
happen.
center.
I'm
Witty's
telling-
coming off a chip.
He's going to step on someone's
Yeah, but Dan's
chest.
chipping.
He's going to step on our center's chest on his way to the quarterback. He's going to get pressure up the middle.
I think me and Billy are the guards, and
Whoever-
Stugotz and Jess are like our tight ends in motion.
I don't think that you guys understand what he's going to hit one or two. He's going to break the double team. Okay?
Jess, can you throw a chip block? Can you throw a chip?
Maybe a crackback.
Yeah, just
Okay,
put a little,
good.
dip a little
Right.
shoulder before you run your wheel.
All right, put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. Can an offensive line made of 6 show members successfully protect a quarterback for 3.5
I thought it was
seconds?
10, though. I mean,
No.
Greg Cody's,
Quarterback- can
Greg
quarterback
Cody's the
scramble?
quarterback.
Yeah, no.
I wanted to do 10
We
too,
should
but
put
the,
Greg on the ground the way that some teams defend free kicks in soccer, just because it's an obstacle that way.
Trip him up last minute.
just
He
have-
might trip over
he
Greg's
trips
toenail.
over Greg.
what can you guys tell me about you guys going out to play tennis against or to try to return the serve of a 7-foot
Well,
tennis player
there have
who
been a-
serves 150 miles an hour this weekend?
We were out there with Red Bull athlete Riley Opelka. The video should be turned around as we're hoping today. So there have been a lot of social media teasers out there, probably a little too many, because we're going to deliver on this video. But Stugotz, Chris Cody, Greg Cody, they tried their hand in returning a serve from a ATP pro.
There is no such thing as too many social media teasers. People have been begging for this content all weekend. They want to know if Stugotz was able to do it. More importantly, they want to know if Greg Cody is still alive today, because honestly, like, it was touch and go for a while.
There
He
were,
was hurting.
there were a couple moments where Riley would tell people exactly where the serve was going. So you'll see exactly how they fared, but the results were interesting.
Greg had to sign a release. I was like, "Are you sure you want to do that, Greg?" I feel like this release is specifically.
What were the rules?
I didn't sign one.
Proper tennis rules, and Riley was very careful to inspect the height of the net.
Taking it a little serious.
He called it
Yeah.
volleyball net.
He called
at
it a
one point.
volleyball
He was
net.
not happy with
He
the net.
wasn't. We'll see if that plays into Stugotz's favor.
Did you return it, Stugotz?
Don't do this, Billy.
How many serves did he hasn't said anything for 15 minutes and then he rolls a grenade across the floor.
I miss his chaos.
I have no idea if he's
people room,
listening or not. How many serves did each of them get?
It was kind of, there wasn't an
10-ish.
exact number, but
Yeah.
10-ish
10-ish.
feels right.
Yeah,
10-ish. 10-ish while they were playing
Tennis
tennis.
court.
We're going to get to funniest thing from the sports weekend, and we're going to get Stugotz's weekend observations as well. What are you laughing about, Billy?
Tennis court.
Is that me?
We were all thinking it.
Chris, what
How
was
about that?
happening? What did you instigate in a parking lot yesterday? What happened?
Sounds
Oh.
exciting.
Sawgrass Mills Mall.
It always goes down right there.
War
Yeah.
zone.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo.
Especially this time of year.
Does it always go down at Sawgrass Mills Mall? This
Hit it
time of
reinforced?
year, people are stressed. He's so right about this. Even though we've been locked up in our house and nobody goes, I'm assuming people don't go to malls anymore, but they might just to fight in that parking lot during the holidays.
All evidence to the contrary in that parking lot. That parking lot's a war zone.
Yes, it is.
It's every man for himself.
Yeah.
It's BYOB.
Yeah.
So this actually I didn't actually end up in an altercation here. My vehicle pulling out of a spot started an altercation. So this is what happening. I'm walking a long way to my car, and as I'm walking,
Someone's following
there's
you.
a car behind me following me. All right. I hate that move. I don't speed up. I don't slow down. I'm kind of just indifferent about it. But there's also a car on the other side, kind of down at the end, kind of like, I'm just going to sit here and wait till someone's walking. So I'm walking, and it gets to the point where I'm right near where that car far away from me was, and there's a car following me. So there's like kind of two cars now all of a sudden with their blinkers on, like, I want this spot. This is not my fight. I just get out. One of them.
to make a call.
No. I mean, it's not my decision. This is like whoever puts on their blinker first between them. That's on them. I'm just pulling out. But this is the
You're
thing.
neutral. You're
It
neutral.
gets no.
You
But
need to
one of
become a
them,
partisan.
they were as I'm putting my kid in the car, they're both sitting there.
Oh boy.
And then one of them took the L. One of them was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do this. Gone. So I was like, all right, this person won. Good. But the way I was going, I needed to go in the direction. So all of a sudden, another car comes up, and the way I pulled out, I kind of screwed over the person that had been sitting there. I'm not gonna go.
You set a
I'm not
pick-
gonna exit
you
in
set
a
a
different
pick for a
direction.
scammer?
I'm gonna assume people are decent. It was clear now. This person's been here for like 10 minutes with their blinker on. So I pull out to the right. I go, and this jackass car only in South. Like I know people say South. I feel like this is the only place where that happens. People are not this big of an ass because this is clear. It wasn't like they didn't see it. This person was just like, I'm gonna be an asshole right here. So I pull out, car that just came up, swoops into the spot. The car that's been there for 10 minutes does the thing where it just like pulls up right behind them, just I'm just gonna sit here. And my wife's like, why aren't we driving? I'm like, I'm watching to see like what happens here. Or something like,
It's a great game.
Like,
I mean,
I'm just
I'm not
like
driving away.
and I ended because my wife was like, there was a car behind me that was trying to go, and I was like, I want to watch this, and I left it with just like that's how I left it. I didn't actually see if shit went down. You know, shit went down though, because that car was just like sitting there, like this is my spot. But it's a dangerous game because people are crazy.
Yeah, they
So
are.
it's like you risk. I'm angry right now, but is it that important? I'm a coward in those spots. What do you? How are you guys playing this here? Are you guys blocking that car? Are you actually getting out? Like, yo, this is my spot. That's a dangerous game. I feel like I might just do it.
You're not leaving. Most people, I'm guessing, don't just leave with a whimper. Something, complaint,
Maybe
a
a
honk,
honk.
yell out your window.
You throw the arm thing in the air, like what
the-
that?
Yeah, but also in Miami, also gunshots can
Right,
be
that's why.
something.
Do the middle finger underneath the steering wheel where the person can't see it.
Coward. Because I've actually had that happen to me before, and it was some lady who was just in the spot and she didn't get out of her car. And I was doing the thing where I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm not gonna like get into an altercation with a lady. So I eventually
Why
left.
not?
But I was just like, I was like, this lady. Just,
I feel like the guy who darted into your spot is playing the game better.
No, that person's a jackass of the highest order.
Listen, you don't sit in a parking lot.
What was
Okay,
that noise?
jackass of
You
the
okay?
highest order. Yeah, I pulled out of a sentence. You don't sit there in a parking lot, Whittingham. Okay, you don't drive around. You're not looking for a spot. You're just waiting for someone to walk to you and pull their car out.
That's what you have to do.
That's not how you play the game.
That's how you play it.
No, you don't just sit there and rest. You follow and stalk people. That's what you do.
Now we know that obviously the person who stole the parking spot is a jackass. Just the worst person. However, Chris, I will
Debatable.
criticize your technique here on a couple of occasions. Number one, you do need to become a partisan and point at someone. This is the car that's getting my spot.
You need to get
You
involved.
cannot.
No way.
You
Yes,
cannot.
no,
You cannot
You
let
don't get
You
involved.
need to make a choice.
You
can't
need to
be
make a
neutral.
choice,
You
number
need to
one.
help.
And number two-
you were an accomplice to jackassery. You were an
yes,
accomplice.
Yes,
Be an ally.
and on multiple fronts. Because the second front is you need to go the opposite way.
Exactly.
No, but
just drive
go the other
around.
way and do a Yui.
Yeah.
Because you are creating the problem for
What?
someone to steal your spot.
Yes,
If you,
but in
you
that
need to
parking
become a
lot-
partisan in that spot and say, look, even if it's not the way that I'm supposed to be going, this person gets a spot. I'm going to set a pick so that that person can get
I
the spot.
assume decency.
No, you chose wrong. It's December the 12th at Sawgrass Mills Mall. There's no decency.
You should assume surface to air missile is in somebody's trunk is what you should assume before decency.
But Chris, you have been in that parking lot, Whittingham. You have been in that parking lot. If he goes that way and circles around, that could take 25 minutes during the holidays. No way.
You have
That's
to
not
do
Chris's responsibility.
I'd like to
We live in a
backtrack.
society.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Always. Now, Whittingham is the most helpful among us, and Stugotz is the most selfish. So, not surprising that this is where the spectrum
I don't care who gets
would
this
fall.
spot.
But what I want to, you don't care about anyone other
Once
than
I'm done with a spot, I don't care who gets it
No,
next.
but
I
you
mean-
also don't care about anyone when you're in that parking lot. Like you just where are my cigarettes? I'm leaving. I don't care if something explodes behind
I would have
me.
had a heater right outside the car, make them both wait, sweat it out. I mean,
The thing that I want to ask the group, though, is this question. I'm going to go all of human history since we've had automobiles, and I'm going to allow you to choose Gandhi temperaments. Is there anyone who's been sitting there for 10 minutes who's the recipient or the victim? Anyone who's leaving quietly? Like just not a sound, just... Your 10 minutes, that person is a jerk and you're just going to stuff it down. Not it's just going to be a thought, but there will be nothing else done by you. You're just going to drive away. Or is everyone enraged by that? Is anyone who's...
I think Whittingham's the guy you're looking
no,
for.
I don't think...
No?
I believe throughout eternity, it's the thing that binds us, I believe. That anyone with their blinker on for 10 minutes is going to be enraged by that if someone cuts in with South Florida jackassery. I think across all spectrums, genders, all ages, a 90-year-old woman is going to be, you mother...
Tony's saying he would just park his car there, like turn it off in the block, like blocking that car in. Like, all right, I'm gonna go park now. You can't get out till I leave. I mean, I don't think he actually would do that. I think he's talking a big game right now.
Well, but
that, I mean, that'd be a play.
That's fighting fire with fire.
What's Kirkshin doing in that spot?
I think most people. I think the very least you get is a honk, an arm flail, and then you just drive off. Nobody's not honking. Nobody's not at least giving some gesture. I think that's at the very. Even the Billies of the world, the me's of the world are. I mean, are you gonna? I'm assuming that you're not gonna get
I just
physical.
keep it moving.
Right. That's what I'm.
Billy, you're objecting to him saying that you might be meek in that circumstance. What? I mean,
You're gonna avoid confrontation? No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Witty with no glasses. Mr. Cool Guy over here with the leather jacket today.
Whoa!
Left him at home today. I'm
Cheap
bummed.
shot.
Put up your.
Wait, are they not real glasses?
Yeah.
They are real glasses. I'm struggling today.
Wait, how do you leave without your
How did you
glasses?
drive
You
if
have
you
fake
can't see
glasses.
without
No.
Fake glasses.
He has fake glasses like Lewis.
Fake, phony Chris Whittingham.
You can
look,
drive without your
Chris,
glasses.
That's
you
what you
can't.
did yesterday in that parking lot. You're just in the middle of it. And you're like, the tables have turned, just making everything worse. You're not.
And I want to watch. I'm like, what? No, Christy, I'm staying here. I need to see how this plays out.
Your wife is asking you, why are we not driving? Because I wish to behold the insanity behind me.
Billy and Whittingham are cars
you're
right now
out
trying to
you're out here
park.
pretending to be neutral while howling between Witty and Billy. The tables
Witty's
have
got me
turned.
directing traffic, like getting out, like, nope, you come in here,
I know.
come on in,
No
come on
one would
in
ever
here.
do that.
It's
Nobody.
a point. All you have to do is index finger. That's your spot, and wave the other car on.
You think that asshole would have listened to my point? The guy just ignored all of
ran you over.
society.
Which is why you then have to set a pick for him.
Well, that I didn't know he was gonna do it. Like I was like expecting, it's the holiday season.
Do you guys know? I did not know who this person was. I just read about it the other day. Steve Kornacki. Is that how?
Wait. Steve Kornacki.
How'd you just discover him?
I didn't know. I did not know.
You're a John King guy?
What
You're a
his,
John King guy.
What his work
He
was.
is a John King guy.
John
Classic
King's a
King.
bit better though, right? We
No,
agree. I think John King. I think King is the greatest of all time.
Well, King is an incredibly smooth presenter, but I think Kornacki's a little bit more wonky. He's got some more data.
But Kornacki's been doing this on Sunday Night Football. This is his second season doing this, right?
He's having a moment.
But-
It's a King world.
Well,
though.
you said it's a moment, but they're bringing him back. They're bringing him and what I wanted to ask you, because I don't know this person's credentials, is it just to break down the playoff permutations? Is it just because he's so data driven and so good at data in all realms that he's going to break down the difference between 6 and 7 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 8, and that the playoff system is so complicated that he is giving people data that they're craving because they're now going to use him for the rest of the season?
Yes, Dan. He became America's sweetheart last year during the presidential election, where he was on MSNBC every night breaking down the different counties. And, the election lasted a full week, so people got used to seeing him every night. And then NBC discovered, Steve Kornacki should do this on Football Night in America and break down the playoff scenarios, because it's the same thing. It's all mathematics, right? So now he started this last year doing the playoffs only, and now he's back this year to do it again, to run it back.
And we all love him. We love the information. It's necessary. It's a necessary information because the playoffs have so many permutations that you need one of America's foremost data scientists help with it.
It helps when you include like the win probabilities and you start like looking at how the schedules cancel each other out. But I don't know. I feel like that ESPN.com NFL playoff page is pretty helpful in this regard.
But you don't have that on TV. Like he's
That's fair.
adding something to the broadcast that they wouldn't have typically had before. He also did the Kentucky Derby this year, and he was the only person to predict Medina Spirit. May they rest in peace.
I also like have to imagine like, so the reason why, like in comparison to what he does on election night, this is like, it feels like that level of expertise that he has, like knowing all of the counties in Wisconsin, is such a level of expertise that like this by comparison, it's like, I understand like this is your role, but it's like, it doesn't quite capture what he brings on election night, which is there are two people in the world that know this much about the election.
But they're probably getting a great deal of help as well, right? They probably don't know all of those counties.
No, he does.
Yeah, how
he
dare
does.
you.
John King knows every county in the
Consulting.
country.
He does.
Every single one of
Kornacki
them.
does too. He's
Yeah.
like, Winnebago County.
Without any help. He's
5,000
yeah.
people.
John King is so
Dane County,
great. Like you think
500,000 people.
You think Wisconsin's going to the Democrats, and then he explains to you this county, this county,
Yeah.
this county.
Racine
All
County?
votes aren't in.
In 1984
4
went
years
this
ago,
way.
they all went Republican.
That's
It's not
right.
over yet. I mean,
And
it's
if
great.
this happens,
Yeah.
then this happens. That's
Right.
all it is. It's saying like, if this goes blue, then this needs to be red, and that's all he's doing with the playoffs.
There's
He's
like 5
if
people.
the Rams
It's-
win, then the 49ers need to do this.
I love how giant and unstoppable this thing is that requires help from all areas. Football. Trying to decide whether 6 and 7 has a better chance than 7-6, and all of the networks and all of the streaming services are all fighting for, they're, as everything divides, Stugotz, in streaming and television, football is king in a way that is just totally flabbergasting, where they can dominate across your networks. They can create their own network. It is such an amazing beast of an entertainment thing that it's hard to fathom. It really is that you can
Kornacki's guessing. I'll say it. We're all thinking it. He's just guessing. He doesn't
It's
know.
math.
Guessing
No, it's
what?
not- he's guessing.
Guessing what?
Tell me how it's going
Have
to
more
play
wins
out.
than the other team.
How about
I mean,
tell me in week 1 how things are going to play out, Kornacki, if you know so much. Don't tell me in week 17 when teams are about to clinch who's
he's
going to
not
make
like
it.
a wizard.
Well,
Billy.
he should be. That's what we're painting him out to be, this guy that knows everything. Tell me in week 1. At this point in the year, who knows?
He needs to be a wizard.
Yeah, he
he
needs
has
to
to be
be a
an
wizard.
actual
Yes.
wizard to impress
Yes.
you. He has to be.
Yes, that's what John King is. And that's why I'm a knight in the king's court, not this Kornacki guy.
Can you like both of them, or you cannot
No.
like both
No,
of
you
them?
can
You
only
gotta-
like
What
Is
kind
that
of
a-
dumb
is-
question
I
is
didn't
that?
Is Knight in the
one
King's
of
Court a
them.
thing? Like
It
that,
is now.
I mean, I love that.
You're a knight.
Stugotz, are you ready to do weekend observations?
I am.
All right, let's do it.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Dan, consider today a momentous day in show history because no team riding a 6-game winning streak has ever been declared back during weekend observations. But Dan, make no mistake about it. After a convincing 48-9 victory over the Raiders, the Kansas City Chiefs are indeed back. You get what I'm saying there? Even during the 5-game winning streak, we had questions, but yesterday, no questions. Special teams, defense, they've been playing good all year. We've been waiting for the offense. Offense played great yesterday. Chiefs, back. You excited?
I mean, you're the one who said they were off. Like, I don't understand
they
why
were. Now they're back.
You're the only one who was questioning them around here. Nobody else was questioning them. It was you and Billy saying something's a little bit off.
Well, so that's 2 people. It's a fun.
And I was asking as well whether or not they were a terrible defense.
Speaking of back, for the 27th time, welcome back, Josh Gordon. College football, I miss you. The V in Verstappen. Sorry about that. Dan, you know what it stands for?
Vroom.
You got it. Vroom. There's a second one. The F and F1 stands for fixed. If the Heisman Trophy was awarded, but no one watched and no one cared, was it actually awarded? Things to ponder. Huh?
Did anyone watch the Heisman show this weekend?
Nope.
I heard it was terrible. I didn't watch it.
It is so
Cody didn't even know.
diluted.
They announced the winner?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Did they really do it?
I don't believe the pandemic and so much sports and just change in general has allowed the amateur trophy to hold up very well as a symbol. Like all around it now, there's money too. So I can't even imagine. It's going to keep getting smaller, that thing, right? The ceremony and the award.
I think the opposite is the criticism that it's gotten too big and they've made too much of a show out of it. So it's just an hour of kind of nonsense for 5 minutes of award speech and then it's over.
Bryce Young, welcome
It's like it's from a different time.
to the Heisman House.
Sorry about that, Stugotz. I'm
okay.
sorry, bad timing by me. But it is. It's an award ceremony from a different town, a different time of your life when you gathered around a television on Saturday night to find out.
Used to be great, I got to tell you.
To find out whether or not somebody was the best college football player in all the land.
You know what the S in Michael Strahan stands for? Space. Sort of. You know what the S in Michael Strahan stands for, Dan?
You just said space, sort of.
Sack record. Sort of. You know what the S in Michael Strahan stands for, Dan?
No,
Should have been Tiki Barber in that rocket ship to space.
it really should have been.
The final frontier. I didn't tell you, I spent the entire time watching that, and that's all I was thinking. Tiki should be on that rocket.
Both of them.
Yeah.
That's what
You didn't
thought.
watch it.
You're right, but I was thinking it. I mean, if I was watching it, that's what I would have been thinking. Good call out, though, because I didn't watch a second of it. I mean, it's not really space. It's a cup of coffee. Right? Anyway, what was it? Dan, I'm a little sore today after returning serves from Riley Opelka. Can't imagine how Riley feels.
Returning serves.
Yeah, hope he's okay.
Find out today
Yeah.
in the YouTube.
It's tough on the ankles, Dan. You ever return serves from a professional tennis player?
I have not.
Then don't judge. Anyway,
But you have?
We'll see.
I just did.
We'll see together.
I'm not saying I returned anything. I tried to, and it's very hard on the ankles. I mean, we'll see. Anyway, all that returning of serves got me thinking about my top 5 returners of serve in men's tennis history.
Wow.
How about that?
I'd been waiting for this all
Yeah.
our lives.
Number 5, me.
Really?
Not saying I did anything special. I am just saying on the right day with the correct wind, it's me. Number 4, David Nalbandian. El Gringo. Number 3, Leighton Hewitts. Rusty. Number 2, Novak Djokovic. The Joker. And number 1, Dan, Andre Agassi. The Las Vegas Kid. How about that? You agree?
That's a pretty good list.
Thank you. Andy Murray, 6, by the way. Outside looking in. OLI.
Sorry, Andy. That's too bad. I'm sure Andy is wounded by that. Wanted to be in the top 5. Did special things at Wimbledon because I wanted to be in the top 5.
It's a great returner of serve, Murray. Micah Parsons, menace. Dan, you know what the M in Micah stands for?
I do not.
Really?
You just said menace.
Well, might be Defensive Rookie of the Year and NFL Defensive MVP. How about that?
Okay. I will not argue with you, Stugotz.
You know what I did to you there? I threw you a curveball.
The M stands for Myles Garrett. Should be the defensive MVP.
I don't know about that. I mean, we're not sitting here having a discussion. Would it take 10 of us to block him, Myles Garrett?
Could easily
Forgot who you were
have that
talking about.
conversation.
I think it would be the same result in both instances. I don't think it would be a lot different.
Pancake.
I'm not sure. Chip block. Anyway,
Chip block.
I'm surprised it took this long for Lamar Jackson's ankle to give after carrying around the entire Baltimore organization on his shoulders for the last 3 years.
I hope you're excluding Justin Tucker.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. You're right. My bad, Justin. Tom Brady can scoot. Charger blue. Top 5 blues in the history of sports.
They're a good powder blue. It's a nice powder blue.
You want my top 5 blues in the history of sports?
Sure, let's do it.
Number 5. I'm glad you asked. Blue Edwards. Number 4. The St. Louis Blues. Number 3. Charger blue. Number 2. Vita blue.
Oh, nice.
The all-time greats. And number 1, Dano, Carolina blue. Best blue in all of sports. Death, taxes, and the Brady 1-yard sneak. Sean McDermott, hot seat? The question.
Is he on the hot seat?
He should be, don't you think?
They didn't make the playoffs for 17 years.
Yeah, but Super Bowl expectations and flirting with not making the playoffs this year. Huh?
They're 7-6 and play Carolina next week.
So what does that have to do with it?
Okay.
What does Carolina have to do with it? I mean, that was one of the teams that many people expected to win a Super Bowl. He was undressed by Bill Belichick on national TV, and the team is flirting with not making the playoffs. Hot seat. I'm asking.
Stop giving Belichick so much credit for that undressing.
What do you
Sean
mean?
McDermott.
Who won?
Well, Sean McDermott said stop giving him so much
The,
credit.
the wind blew the clothes off of McDermott. It was 150 mile an hour winds that blew all the clothes off of McDermott and left him undressed.
You know who was still wearing clothes after the game? Bill Belichick.
That's right.
You know who wasn't?
That's right. McDermott.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Catching on.
All right.
All right, good.
Thank you, Stugotz.
The moment Brashard Perriman caught that football was the moment I realized he was both playing for the Bucs and still playing in the NFL.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Batard Show.
What a way to announce yourself.
Was the moment that Perriman caught that touchdown pass the moment you realized he was still in the NFL?
The defense and special teams were already playing great, and now the offense is starting to gel. Dan, you know what the Kansas City Chiefs are doing? They are clicking on all cylinders. Dan, you know what the P in Bengals punt returner Darius Phillips stands for?
The P. He muffed 2 punts yesterday.
Fumble. Silent H.
The
Humble?
silent H.
Yeah. Think about it.
It's
Think about it. Think about it.
Like Philadelphia, Dan.
Thank you.
the H isn't
Always
silent.
there for me. Thank
The
you.
H is not silent.
Phillips.
in these-
Mm-hmm.
You guys
Fumble.
get it. They get it.
The H is not
Billy,
silent in
eventually they'll get it.
Philadelphia.
Eventually you'll get it, Woody.
Yeah. people are a little slower than
Next
others.
level, I understand. But you'll get there. When
If
you
there were
do,
no
it's-
H there, it would be
You can't see
Philadelphia.
today, your glasses.
Yeah, well, I know. You're off today.
Philadelphia.
No, yeah.
Listen, when you
Without
get
H's.
it, text me later.
Yeah,
We'll have a laugh over
All
it.
right,
Okay.
okay.
He's working. He's playing chess, and you're playing checkers, Whittingham. All right. The H in checkers is silent.
You could play checkers if you'd remembered your glasses today.
Yeah, something's off. Titans 20, Jags nothing. Dan, you know what the Titans defense did on Sunday?
Threw a no. Blanked them.
No, Dan, they tossed a shutout.
Oh.
You know what I just did to you again?
Oh, you threw me a curveball.
Hey, you're on to it.
Yes.
You know when the number two's coming in now. How about that?
This whole thing has been number 2.
Thank you. Cordella Patterson should be in the MVP.
Wait.
What happened there?
What's his name?
Cordell Patterson. What did I call him?
Still
Try
missing a
again.
syllable.
Try again. One more time. Try again.
Cordell Patterson.
No.
Cordella.
No.
Hmm.
This might take a while. This might take a while here because
Cordella Peterson.
he has been, I think, 27% of the Falcons' offense this year.
Which leads me to this. He should be in the MVP conversation.
Can you say his name though? Can you keep trying? It can be funny to keep trying. Like I wonder how many times it'll take you before you get it.
Cordella? Cordelli? Cordadell?
Do you think? What do you think his? Do you think his the last letter in his first name?
Cannoli.
The last letter. In
I
his,
love a cannoli.
What do you think the last
Chocolate chip.
the last letter in his first name is? What do you think the
In his
last?
first name.
Is it a consonant or a vowel?
The H is silent. And
The H is silent in Cordero Patterson.
that's not it. There's no way. What'd you say his name was?
No, I think we're gonna come
Don't
back.
embarrass
We're gonna.
yourself.
I think we're gonna come back and try and get you to say
Is
it
it
again.
Cordero? I mean, no, but did Dan say that? I mean, it's not his name. It's Daryl. Daryl Patterson.
Cordero.
Different guy.
It's just Cordero Patterson.
Like a dash or anything, or
No,
it's all one word.
it's all one word.
And the Patterson.
How is he in the MVP conversation after 58 rushing yards yesterday?
What do you mean? He's had a great season, and the Falcons are better than anyone expected. They're in the playoff
No,
hunt.
they're not better than anyone expected.
Yes, they are.
They're, what do you mean?
There's 547
He was my fourth
rushing
best
yards.
fantasy player yesterday.
Mm-hmm. You should thank him.
They're 5-8.
No, they're not.
No,
What?
they're 6.
They're 6 and 7.
Oh, so they're better than I expected.
They are
Thank
better than.
you.
See, proven again. You
In the
lose.
mix.
You lose again, Mike Ryan.
Let me tell you, 6 and 7 right now is the 7th seed in the NFC. They are right there. Washington 6 and 7. They're in the playoffs if it ended today. Atlanta also 6 and 7. They might be minus 113, but they're 6 and 7. So, MVP? No.
I would love it if
Cordero?
if they made Cordero Patterson the MVP on a what will end up being a 6-11 Falcons.
I'm just
team.
saying he should be in the conversation. It could be a quick conversation. I'm not saying it needs to be a long conversation, but someone needs to bring him up in the room. That's
Okay,
all.
All right.
Daryl Patterson is a different person, though.
He is.
Makes you a cord cutter. What?
It deserved a better fate.
Thank you. Cavs, sneaky good. Dan, here come the Bucks. The Dallas Cowboys are a head coach away. The G in Jimmy Garoppolo stands for George Kittle. Give Tom Brady an inch. He'll not only take a mile, he'll take your soul. I don't know what that means.
Well,
I wrote it down.
It's probably how he's
Yeah.
aged so well.
Yeah. The Bulls played the Heat on a Saturday night, which means they stayed in Miami on a Friday night. They lost to a Heat team playing without Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler by 26. South Beach.
Yeah.
Nikola Vukovic, 3 of 15.
Also COVID,
And minus 28.
but they may be related.
Jesus, the Russian. Don't be surprised if the Bulls are still showing the effects of Friday when they next play on Tuesday against the Pistons.
Yeah. It happens.
South Beach will do that to you.
Yes, it will.
You go there on Friday, you still feel it on Tuesday.
So will COVID.
Mm-hmm. How the hell is Cole Beasley always open? Mike was going to make a COVID joke. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
You mentioned the Cowboys being a coach away. Do I have this right? Did Mike McCarthy give the quote of his lifetime? Because Mike McCarthy is not very quotable. Did Mike McCarthy say flatly before that game, we will win this game? Mike McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
Not I think we will.
They did.
Not maybe we will. Mike McCarthy said, we will win this game. Controversy. Because
he delivered on his promise, though.
Because he said it. He almost didn't. There were a couple of endings yesterday. I can't imagine if you're a Browns fan that any of that felt very good at the end, and I can't imagine that if you're a Cowboys fan, any of that felt very good at the end either. Do you want to do the funniest thing from the sports weekend? I'd like to do the funniest thing from the sports weekend. We'll do it in the postgame next.